In this video, we take a tour of Antrim Castle Gardens and learn about the history of the castle and gardens before making our way to nearby Lough Neagh. So join us as we explore Antrim Castle Gardens. We start our walk at 6 Mile Water as we head to Antrim Castle Gardens. As we cross the market square, we can see the historic old courthouse, completed in 1726 for the sum of £150. The turret on top dates from 1817, and whilst the court occupied the upper floor, the lower one provided an arched market hall. Across from the market square is the Antrim wall and bastion. The bastion allowed defensive fire in several directions. We now make our way into Antrim Castle Gardens, passing through the ornate gatehouse. As we walk through the arch, we enter into the French garden, which in its original layout featured long, thin flower beds. You can also see a 12th century Motte, which we will get to see a bit later. Antrim Castle once stood proudly on this site in various guises and styles from 1610 until it was destroyed by fire in 1922. A continuous line of stone sets around the lawn now mark the footprint of the building. The facade of the castle was dominated by various stone carvings above the main entrance, relating to the Massereene family. Copies of some of these carvings are mounted on 2 granite plinths at the centre of the castle site. By 1210 the castle of Antrim had passed to the crown and is well documented in the accounts of King John between 1211 and 1212, when it was garrisoned by 2 knights, 12 armed archers and up to 40 foot soldiers. We then followed the circular path to the top of the Motte. The Motte was built in the late 12th century by John de Courcy, Earl of Ulster, or one of his followers. From the top of the Motte, you can see what remains of a tower from Antrim Castle. John Skeffington, who was the 10th Viscount Massereene, gave the Antrim Castle site a romantic Victorian makeover. He replaced the original coachyard at the rear of the castle with an elaborate pleasure garden for his wife Olivia. Interesting features included arbours, tunnels, winding paths, artificial mounds, ruins, beautiful vistas and exotic planting. The coach house and stables were moved to a new building beside the castle farmyard and now known as Clotworthy House. From this viewpoint, in Her Ladyship's Pleasure Garden, we can see Deer Park Bridge, which crosses the 6 Mile Water River. We are now heading through an avenue of trees to the Long Canal, which is directly in front of us. We are now back in Her Ladyship's Pleasure Garden, where you might, if you're lucky, spot a fairy or two. This underground tunnel leads to the circular pump house tower in the main grounds of the castle. We are now heading to Clotworthy House, where we will see the Platinum Jubilee Clockwork Garden, before making our way back to the Deer Park Bridge that we are now passing. This is the stable block and coach house that was built to facilitate the creation of Her Ladyship's pleasure garden at the rear of the castle. It is believed to have been designed by Charles Lanyon, who would later gain fame as the designer of such iconic buildings in Belfast as Queen's University, Crumlin Road Jail and Courthouse, and the Palm House in Botanic Gardens. We now head back to the Deer Park Bridge, but not before viewing the gardens at Clotworthy House. The gardens feature plants and trees in small sections that is awash with colour in the summer months. The gardeners here do an excellent job of maintaining the gardens and displays. We cross the road for a glimpse of the large parterre gardens, which is a flat plot of elaborate beds for flowers or coloured gravel. Back in the gardens again, and we can see a cottage garden. And as we make our way through the arch and around the corner, we can see a nice use of scarecrows in this display. As we make our way to the centre of the garden, we can see an important part of the castle's history. This is the Massereene Wolfhound, which was carved circa 1612. The carving represents a wolfhound that saved the life of Lady Marion Clotworthy when she was attacked by wolves on the shore of Antrim Bay. The hound also saved the castle from attack by warning the defenders of an imminent attack. Sir Hugh Clotworthy had this statue carved and placed on the battlements of the castle, where it stayed until the end of the 18th century. We are now crossing the Deer Park Bridge that we passed earlier, on our way to Lough Neagh. The pathway follows the 6 Mile River as it enters into Lough Neagh and is popular with joggers and dog walkers, especially on a hot day. As we get nearer to Lough Neagh, you will notice moored boats and camping facilities, as the area is a popular place for a short break or day out. The aerial shots show how vast Lough Neagh is. It is the largest lake in the UK and Ireland, with a surface area of 151 square miles, and is about 19 miles long and 9 miles wide, and supplies 40% of Northern Ireland's drinking water. The platform in the distance is the former World War II torpedo testing location. The platform was built in Lough Neagh during World War II and allowed for testing the depth and directional accuracy of Mark 8 torpedoes. The torpedoes were built nearby at a factory in Antrim. The platform also had dormitories and kitchens because stormy weather on the loch could sometimes make the trip back to shore impossible. Since the end of the war, the structure has fallen into disrepair and has become an important site for both common terns and cormorants. This mooring and small sandy beach here has been taken over by ducks and swans today. This area is where the 6 Mile River enters Lough Neagh and is a popular spot for people to come and enjoy, and was also a filming location for the popular TV series Game of Thrones. This is the Protector of the Lough statue, which was created by Spanish sculptor Casto Solano and installed in 2022. It depicts the legendary Finn McCool throwing a rock at his Scottish rival Benandonna. We continue our walk around the edge of Lough Neagh to a viewing platform before making our way back along the 6 Mile River to Antrim Castle Gardens. A little den there. Someone's got her in.